I cringe when I watch makeup influencers. I have been a pro makeup artist for 18 years, and when I see these influencers show you this technique, I know that they are fixing stuff off camera and it doesn't really work. I'm gonna show you what works in them and what doesn't, and I'm even gonna tell you why.
Oh, I know what she needs. She just wants the fame. I know what she thinks. Give it a little taste. Run it back to me.
First thing I gotta say is that crooked nose thing, it is so true. I have done it so many times on commercials, but I've done the opposite. A man will come in, maybe he was a boxer, or maybe he was a wrestler when he was growing up and he got his nose broken, right? And okay, it's not always limited to a man, but usually it's the men who get their nose broke, come on. But in order to make his nose look straight, I will go in and draw a straight line and do the contour on the sides and trick the eye into thinking that nose is a little bit straighter and more perfect than it really is. However, one time I had somebody sit in my chair and man, his nose was messed up. It was so crooked, I knew for sure this guy had like gotten into a bar fight, like probably broke it a couple times. And so I asked him how he got his, how his nose had gotten broken, and he looked at me kind of confused and he was like, huh? And I was like, well, it's a little, it's a little crooked, and don't worry, I'm gonna correct that for camera, but I was just wondering the story behind it, because I love the story behind scars and just, what the life stories that happen. And he told me he had never broken his nose, it was just the way it was shaped, and I still feel a little guilty about it today. I'm not sure why you would want your nose to be that wide, but as you can see, it works. Nose contouring really does work. I haven't tried that one. I think I want to try that one. Her nose looks really, really cute. Also, I want to say, when you contour your nose, she's done it pretty dramatically because it's for camera and she wants to make sure you can see the difference, and she's done a fantastic job blending colors. But in person, because we're not a two-dimensional object in person, you need to go a little bit lighter on the colors if you want it to look natural and not like you have a whole lot of makeup on your face. But good job, girlie. You did wonderful.
I just take it day by day.
So we've actually done this one, and while it's a great concept, unless you're actually really good at blending, because when she's putting it on, watch. You can't get that perfectly symmetrical. Ooh, did you see that? That didn't match. Like, they were all sorts of in different places. So the only way to get that to work is to actually blend. Like, if the blush is a little bit lower than you need, blend it up a little bit and then blend it out. And maybe blend this one down a little bit and then blend it out. So like this concept of like, oh, it's so easy, 20 minutes in the morning. It's cute, it's funny, and it can look good, but you actually have to know how to do makeup. It's not like the easy, just slap it on and I'm ready for the day. I want to see her teach us how to blend it out. She's just gorgeous.
I'm testing out the theory that you can like contour your whole face with a lip stain. Done getting ready.
Guys, when it's stain means it's gonna stay that way. Okay, before we get into like actually seeing if this works, the amount of red that's on her face. Red pigment is one of the strongest pigments, so you can put a tiny dot and like cover a huge area. That's why sometimes with your blush you feel like you've gone overboard, but also it's a stain. So if she did that on her bare skin, it should have absorbed into that actual shade. This one isn't even technically a lip stain. It's just that red stains so much, we are gonna see a huge difference. Big no. We're gonna let that sucker sit on there, not even long, like 30 seconds, right? Now we've put the red on her skin. Because red stains so much, it's actually absorbing into my skin right now. So with the amount of product she put on her face, that's gonna be everywhere. Girl, all over there, all over here. My go-to removal is micellar water, so I'm gonna go through and try to remove it with micellar water. And I'm still left sort of pink. You're gonna look like your plastic surgery got botched. I've gone off and I haven't even watched the whole video.
This is how it looks.
What is this? What is this? Why red? I hate that whole trick about putting red under your eyes to color correct. If you have blue underneath your eyes, which the darkness usually is blue, you should be color correcting with an orange tone, not red. If you have purple under your eyes, you should be correcting with a yellow tone, not red. If you have green under your eyes, you probably should go see a doctor, but that's what you would correct with red. I kind of want to try it just to show you how bad it really would be. I know I already told you that this was a bad idea and it was not gonna work, but still I had to try it out. Let's see if putting foundation on top saves it. Like maybe it's just because it's barely peeking out through the foundation. I mean, it's better. It's a fail. It's officially, it does not work. Also, not only are they not blending the red out so you can see where it really goes, they're putting on a full face of makeup. Full face that you probably didn't even notice they were doing. That is going to totally change the look, and you're loving the whole look when they're just talking about, hey, this is what the red looks like. No, that's what a full face of makeup looks like. I do have one good thing to say about it. It is very eye-catching and engaging. And as influencers, we definitely need to do eye-catching, engaging things to get your attention, but please don't lie to us. Yes, if you're wearing a headband and you do your makeup and you blend it all the way up and it's covering any sort of skin, you are gonna end up with a line. Love that she is showing you to blend it back up into your hairline. I see a lot of times, even when women aren't wearing headbands, that they will end up with this line straight across their forehead because they haven't taken that simple step to just blend a little bit into the hairline. And I know that can be a problem because you're like, well, then it gets all over my hair, because I end up painting this skin color all the time. So I've blended my makeup into my hairline and suddenly I look like I have a receding hairline. Going bald is not my look. My hack for this, you can use a paper towel, but what I really find that's better is a little piece of foam. What I do is I go in and, again, guys, micellar water, that is my thing. It erases all my mistakes and I make a lot of mistakes, so I need my micellar water. So the sponge is damp, but it's not wet, so that way I'm not soaking the hair and messing my hair up too bad, but I have just removed that makeup from my hair. Now I look like I have white hair, not a receding hairline. I get how this feels like in theory it's gonna work. It's just a straight line. In fact, let's try it. All right, I am gonna remove as much of my lip color as I can. So she's just pinching her lips really tight and then going in back and forth with lip liner. I'm gonna do it with red so you can actually see where it goes. You see that just drip off? I just scratched my lip because it broke. So far, I don't like this hack. I hurt myself. I am not confident that this has worked. I think I look like a sad clown. I don't consider this working because I feel like a sad clown, but maybe it's prettier than I think it is. Y'all let me know. I wanted to point out that because I used a red color, I do still have red around my lips because it's so pigmented. Rewatch the video. I'm going to do it exactly like she did. It still didn't get the bow. It didn't go all the way down. Maybe if you have smaller lips, this works. The X shape and the idea behind that is you're gonna get the little button nose because you're making this part look closer and this part look closer, while the dark is making everything look further away. Let's try it. I feel like that's gonna be a lot of brightness. From light to dark. When they show you these transformations, but they don't actually tell you what they're doing, it is so hard to copy. It's like the blending would make a total big difference if I did it right or wrong. I'm so much better with a brush. They used a pad, so I'm using a pad. I don't think mine looks as good as theirs. Wait! I used lighter makeup like they put on. They showed you how they use lighter. Both of their noses shimmer after. They used highlighter they didn't tell you about. You know your girl's gotta add the shimmer. That was so subtle, I didn't even notice at first. I hate it when they do stuff and they don't tell you they did stuff, but there was definitely some iridescent, pearlescent quality going on. Either way, not hating it, not loving it. Next. As a makeup artist, I can see where they're going with this, but for me, the placement is a little bit off. Doing an X here is going to make that darker, which if you want a sharp jawline, you do want the bottom side of your chin to be darker so it looks further away. But this right here, I don't really understand. Normally what I do is I'll do a line like that because I'm trying to make this bone show off more. So more of a V, I don't know, I'm just gonna soften it because it looks weird. Maybe it's just pulling out the chin more. Maybe that's what they're doing there. But this whole concept of putting dark on top of the jawline, let me show you a difference. Because when you put darkness on top of the jawline, you are trying to make that look further away. And I do that all the time because I already have a really sharp, square jawline. A lot of times I will just hit this little point to soften it and make it look a little bit more round. I think what they're trying to do is this, where you are taking the part above this jawline. So you can see it really well on me. It's already like there, right? That bone. So the bone looks closer and looks sharper. So conceptually, good idea. Just placement, I would do it a little higher than they did it. One of the things to keep in mind when you're doing your own makeup is when you are watching one of us and we have a whole lot of dark makeup or a whole lot of really light makeup, we do that so you can see placement. I want you to go a little bit closer to your skin tone because this shows you placement, but really when we blend it out, it still looks pretty dark. And so sometimes I even go in between takes because I've had to put so much makeup on for the camera to read it that I will pat a little bit of it off and then blend it. So just go in a little bit lighter with a little less product and a little closer to your skin tone than the influencers do. I also just really want to comment on the fact that they are blending in the direction of the makeup. because if you are going in and you are just like swirling it around, if I go swirl it around, it just moves it everywhere, right? And I don't want it to go everywhere. I'm trying to make sure I'm creating depth and dimension in my jawline, pushing it back. But overall, it's a pretty good tip. If you want makeup broken down really easy, make sure to follow me and go watch my other videos.